This is the victory that overcomes the world, even our faith. That's what John writes in 1 John chapter 5, verse 4, well, the last half of verse 4. We live in a world that is going to always be at war. There will always be things about our world that will be adversarial toward our faith and our belief in God and our desire to honor and follow and obey Him and His design. It's just going to be that way. Now, there are some people that say, you know, when you finally break through to God, living this life for Him will become natural. I've never had that experience. I'm not going to say they're lying. I'm just going to say it hadn't happened for me. What I have experienced is that the more committed I become, the more serious I am about living my life according to God's design, at times it feels like my life gets more complicated. On one level, it gets simpler. Then there are times where because I've made my choice and I'm going to follow God's design, then there are a lot of other incidental decisions that I don't have to make anymore, right? Am I going to be honest? Am I going to tell the truth? Am I going to live a clean life? I don't have to make those choices anymore. I already made that choice. But on the other hand, living according to that choice is not always easy. So there's going to be this battle. But John reminds us there is victory. And he says this is the victory that overcomes the world. See, the world, obviously, or I think it's obvious that John's not talking about the physical world. He's talking about the world system. God is the sovereign over all. He is the ruler, the master. He is the Lord. And nothing happens outside of His permission or His direction. Those are the only two options for how things happen. Either He caused it or He permitted it. And by His plan, He permits Satan, our enemy, the devil, to be the ruler, in quotes, of this world. That is the battle. The battle, and Paul talks about this. He says our battle is not with flesh and blood, but it's a spiritual battle with principalities and powers. And we have to acknowledge that. And a lot of people get pretty, what's the word I want to use? I mean, they get really scared because the spiritual is so spiritual. I mean, it's not physical, it's not tangible, and the intangible is frightening to some people, and I get that. And so some people just pretend there's no battle. You just do the best you can. Life is hard, and then you die. Other people, they go on the opposite extreme of Jesus. I am walking in complete victory in Jesus, and I don't care. Oh, okay. It's kind of like, you took my arm, merely a flesh wound. I'm walking in victory because of Jesus. You took my other arm, a flesh wound. Okay. You can do that. That's up to you. Sounds like I'm being very critical of people on both extremes, and here's why that is. Because I am really critical of people on both extremes. In the middle is this concept that there is a battle that is going on, and it will continue until you or I die, and then the battle is over. There is this sense in which the battle has already been won. I talked about it before. When Jesus uttered the words, "It is finished," I think what He meant by that was, it's over. The payment has been made. But when he rose from the dead, he proved that he had vanquished our ultimate enemy, death. Sin, death, and hell no longer hold their grip on us. So does the battle go away? No. It seems in my life to continue to rage. It's as though Jesus won the war, but the devil is still fighting the battle. And I don't know I can't quite reconcile that completely. I can't explain it away. I just know that my pathway to victory, according to John, is faith. This is the victory that overcomes the world, even our faith. You got to think about this. The only thing that makes faith valid is the thing upon which it rests, the thing that it is in, right? For us as Christians, as believers and followers of Jesus, our faith is in Jesus. And because of that, there's a cascading effect of things that we believe to be true and either happening or yet to happen. Faith is at the core of our relationship with God. And here's the thing. Without faith, the writer of Hebrews says, it's impossible to please God. Well, I don't know how you can have a relationship with God through Jesus without faith. It's not possible. Okay, here's another thing about faith. Faith is not about proof. And I'll say it again. Faith is not about proof. Things that have been proved do not require faith. The law of gravity has been proven to me over and over again. Because of the proof, on the basis of the proof, I don't really need faith in the idea that what goes up must come down. That's a proven thing. However, there are things about my future that I cannot see, I cannot yet know. I can only put my faith in the one who holds the future. Wow, this gets all fuzzy, but it's really important. Faith is the victory. Our victory rests in our faith. All right. I consider myself to be a person of not great faith. I struggle in the area of faith. My best friend was David Shelton. And the man had enough faith for all of us. He just, and I believe he is a person whose spiritual gift was faith. He was able to trust God for things and in ways that I got locked up trying to do. But God gave him that ability as a gift. And I think there are people who have the spiritual gift of faith. And without getting into this long debate and dissertation about what is the gift of faith, I will just say, whether you feel you have the spiritual gift of faith or like me, you don't, we all have this privilege of trusting God for what we need and trusting God to meet our needs, and trusting that because of his perfection, his absolute perfect wisdom, he will do for us what we most need. That I don't think you can move forward at all in your walk with Christ until you really at least accept that. Now, living by that, and that becoming more and more the theme of our lives, that's what maturity consists of. That's what the Bible calls it, sanctification. Well, what about for people like me who have small faith? One of the aspects of faith that I find most encouraging is that God is not looking for some volume, some measure of faith. And so that until you get to some point, your faith doesn't do any good. He said it. If you have faith the size of a mustard seed, and I don't know anybody that's growing mustard. Maybe there are people here in America who are, but it was a fairly common thing for people to grow in Jesus' day. But a mustard seed is tiny. It's about the same size as a grain of sand. Jesus said, if you have faith the size of a mustard seed, if we want to talk about size, that's just minuscule. He said, if you have faith the size of a mustard seed, you can say to that mountain, go jump in the sea, and it will go jump in the sea. Now, that is, in my opinion, that is absolutely an exaggeration for the sake of impact. I don't see anywhere in the Bible that it says, go ahead, ask the mountain to move into the sea, physically, literally. And yet, there are many times, and happens in my life, I bet it happens in your life as well, where something that seems as difficult and daunting and challenging as the mountain in front of us goes into the sea. God makes that mountain immaterial. When I was a little boy, there was a song said, Lord, don't move the mountain. Give me faith to climb it. And I suppose that's pretty legitimate. Sometimes God makes the mountain move, and sometimes he says, all right, come with me. We're gonna climb that mountain. At any rate, here's the point. How big your faith is not the issue. Small faith, big faith. Doesn't seem to be that God is saying until your faith gets bigger, you're not going to get anything. Our faith can be small, but if our faith is in Him, again, it's not about me grunting up my faith and giving it my best effort. Because it's not, you see, the faith thing is not about me. The faith thing is about Him. And I must trust Him that He is in control and He is sovereign. He is absolute King of Kings. This is the victory that overcomes the world, even our faith. How are you doing on faith? The answer for me is, wow, some days I do okay, and some days I'm horrible. I really believe God is going, I know, bud, I know. It's okay. Keep putting your faith and trust in me. You just keep on. Okay. See you next time on Soul Care with Stevie Boy.